On today's show, the boys are back. And what's the best storyline in the NBA Finals? I'll tell you what it is. On today's Locked On Mavs.
I'm Luka Doncic, and this is Locked On Mavericks.
How about 10 Mavericks? NBA champions. Bang! It's good! And the Mavericks have won the game!
If you don't believe, you shouldn't be here.
Loyalty never fades away.
Welcome. You're locked on to the Dallas Mavericks. My name is Nick Angstdt, media member and your best friend covering the Mavericks at the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks for being part of the show, making Locked On Mavs your first listen today. But the best way you can help us grow the show is to listen every day on any podcast platform, leave a 5-star review, like the video, and comment anything below. Comment below on YouTube. What is the best storyline in the 2024 NBA Finals? And joining me, as always, not writer, but contributor, host, Mavs.com, Studio 41, the Finals Fiend, the One More Thing King. What you got for me, Isaac Harris?
I'm so excited for the finals to start. I'm just so ready for it. Can they just start now? I'm so sick and tired of all the, I'm just done with all the other content from it. I can't listen to anything else besides this show, the next 30 minutes of this show.
That's right. And the 30 minutes I did with Dana later today.
Yes. The show with Dana, because we love Dana. Dana's free.
The eternal optimist.
The next time I see your face will be where?
Oh, in the home of where Plymouth Rock, where they landed and threw the tea in the ocean. And
Of all the ways to describe the city of Boston and TD Garden. And the next time I see your face will be at Game 1 there at the Garden in Boston, and hopefully right before a Dallas Mavericks win.
Oh, that'd be the best. That would be the best. Isaac Harris, former co-host on this show for 6 years. We did this show together, and when Isaac was about to leave, I would always tell people, I've loved hosting this show with Isaac. It's been the best. We've become best friends, all this. You know what's going to hurt the most? What if the Mavs make the finals? That's what I kept. I told my parents that. I told everybody. I was like, that would just suck so bad, because it's so special to share it with somebody. But here we are. We get to share it. We'll be there. We'll be at Game 1. I'm excited. We'll both be there. And today we're back talking about what's the best storylines for the finals. This is a classic Locked On Mavs episode where you talk about what are the biggest storylines. And I think the biggest, best storyline of this is not Kyrie getting his quote-unquote revenge that John Corrales doesn't think is revenge. It's not Porzingis returning to Dallas. It's not Jayson Tatum maybe finally winning a title. To me,
I love how you're just going through all the freaking storylines.
That's right. To me, the best one is...
I'm ready.
To me, it's Luka Doncic, because to me, if he wins the finals, wins finals MVP, he takes the next step in his star arc and becomes an unassailable superstar, the best player in the NBA. And I think, to me, that is the best story.
I'm actually right there with you. The only notes that I have for this, we were joking before about how Nick was like, I don't have any notes. And
don't tell the channel manager, which is me.
Yeah, I'm going to tell your boss. And then, I don't really have a ton. I was like, it's not like we've never done a show before. But the first one I did write down was Luka and his career arc. And the same thing, Luka right now, when you just look on paper and you look at all the accolades that Luka has, you're really only comparing him against the greatest of all time. Like the greatest players of all time, however you want to make up your top 5, top 6, top 10 list, like Luka's accolades across his career. I mean, I always start with the all NBAs because those mean more to me than the NBA, more than the, all-star appearances and all the other random stuff, rookie of the years. I mean, those matter, but it's the all NBAs for me. 5 times in 6 years is just absolutely just insane to think about that in his first 6 seasons. But I mean, then you scoring champion. I was reading this thing the other day of I was actually looking into. I'm like, when was the last time that a scoring champion has won an NBA title?
It's been a while.
And what
Some of you weren't born.
I was gonna say what I came up with was 2000, and it was Shaq.
Correct.
So, I mean, 24 years ago, which is absolutely insane to think about. But no, if Luka can cap this thing off, or not cap it off, but win a ring in year 6, I mean, he has the career path going to be up there in that conversation.
And like think about all the Locked On Mavs episodes we've done. Like I just hit 2,000 episodes recently. Which is insane. Think about all the teams we've covered, and think about the Mavs teams we've covered. You and I covered the team last year every day on the show, every single game. Like, can you imagine we would be in this situation? We go, oh man, Luka's ahead of schedule now, because forever it was Luka doesn't have another star with him. Who's the other star? How many episodes do we do of how can the Mavs find another star next to Luka? How can they find that person? And then it was, well, how can they got Brunson now? He's emerging. Is he the star? But they got Porzingis. Is he the guy, and all that? And now they could be considered ahead of schedule if they win this title.
Yeah, you look at like MJ, you look at LeBron, you look at when these guys made it to their first finals, you look at when they won their first ring. You're entering that time frame right now. If you're Luka. And once you already get all the accolades and all the stuff and all the numbers that Luka has and these all-time greats have at this point in their career, from this point on, you're really only measuring it by rings and slash MVPs. Like,
but even MVPs, how many did Kobe win? 1. He's still looked at as one of the greatest ever.
So that's the thing. It's like, from this point on, we're just talking rings with Luka.
Yeah.
And for him to be in the finals right now and to have this chance to win his first ring, it's pretty remarkable.
It's pretty wild to be in that position with Luka and I think so much is on him in this series too, because
well, I was going to add to it. I don't know if you have any more like Luka storylines, because I have another Luka storyline if you just want to make this whole thing. I think one of the underrated storylines for this series regarding Luka Doncic will be his defense. I think if we've ever needed the best defense of Luka Doncic in a series, it is this series. Yeah. And I think whether it goes well or it goes very poorly, it's going to be one of the bigger storylines of the series, because if we look at Boston, we look at, you look at like game 1 against Minnesota, and he's guarding Jaden McDaniels. And what happens? He's not closing out in time. McDaniels is getting these shots off. McDaniels is hitting these threes. Not normal for him, but he's also getting open threes. You can't leave guys open against Boston. Every single guy, especially Porzingis is out there, every single guy is shooting the three. And if he's matched up with Drew like he was earlier in March, Drew's shooting like 60% from corner threes right now. I mean, he's shooting the ball insane. So you can't, I think one of those like mini storylines is, can Luka close out on these shooters, whoever he's matched up in? And it's not about like, hey, I said this the other day on Welcome to Mavs Land. It comes out every Monday. It's my show for the Dallas Mavericks on their YouTube channel. But I said this the other day, and it's like, it's not that I'm like taking a shot at Luka's defense, because yes, he has been playing a lot better defense, especially in the playoffs. It's, you got to be able to preserve him, right? Like, you got, like, when it comes into the last few minutes of the game and he's locked in playing defense, I trust Luka's defense. He's a good defender then. It's throughout the course of a series or a course of a game. Like, that's when you got to, like, he's just not in the point of his career yet to go from tip off to the end of the game playing at that high level of defense. So I think Luka's defense is going to be, one of the most talked about things. He's either going to get beat and not, they're going to target him a lot, or he's not going to close out enough on these threes, and it's going to be a talking point for everybody, or he's going to be closing out. He's going to hold his ground on the switches. And a lot of people are saying, whoa, Luka is a completely transformed defender right now. So that will be a storyline.
It absolutely will, because this defense has always taken all 5 guys to be locked in and to be connected and to be, performing and to like be participating, right? I think Kid has used that phrase, is participating on the defensive end. And if they can get Luka to get to do that. Now, he's got a really big offensive load. I think that Celtics will kind of force the Mavericks to have Luka do as much as possible on offense and to just, drive over and over again, give him the one-on-one coverage. All right, work for it. Because we know that you won't be able to hold it up on the defensive end. And so that's something to definitely watch. But there's a lot on Luka, but I think that he's the best storyline, because if he does win, if he does come through, if he does play the best defense, if he does create everything on offense. If he does, you know what the record is for most 40-point games in a finals?
Ooh, what is it?
Jerry West has 4, and your boy Michael Jordan has 4.
Ooh,
in a single finals.
yeah.
So if he does that, if he hits whatever that he gets to, I think Luka is the best story in all this because he can go the highest. He can get to the highest place of any player in the series. But coming up, let's talk about those other ones I mentioned. Let's talk about Tatum and Brown finally winning it. Let's talk about Kyrie. Does it count as revenge? We'll talk about Porzingis. Talk about all that and more coming up. Today's episode is brought to you by Betterhelp. Betterhelp is the place where you can go and talk about stuff. If you've got things that you need to talk through, let's say that you are a pastor and you have people in your congregation that are coming to you with issues and you need to talk through those things. Is that something that you would ever have dealt with?
BetterHelp seems like a great option for me.
You can do that. BetterHelp is there for you when you need to talk through things in life that are giving you anxiety, they're giving you stress, even things that you just can't stop thinking about. Therapy is a safe place to get things off your chest and to figure out how to work through whatever's weighing you down. If you're thinking about starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire. You get matched up with a licensed professional, and you can switch therapists whenever you want. No additional charge. When you try somebody different, you won't vibe with the first one, and every therapist knows that you'll have this kind of feeling out process, and they understand if you were going to change therapists. Get it off your chest with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/LockedOnNBA today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/LockedOnNBA. BetterHelp.com/LockedOnNBA.
My first shot, my first make.
Thanks, everybody, for hanging out with us on Locked On Mavs, being part of the show, part of the Raccoon Squad, listening every day. Appreciate each and every one of you for checking out the show. We are a 5-day a week, now 7 times, multiple days, multiple episodes a day show covering the Dallas Mavericks, continuing to just cover these finals like nobody else is. I got Isaac Harris with me. He hosted the show with me for 6 years.
I'd like to claim royalties. Is that what it's called? On the One More Thing show that is coming out now?
The people have asked about the One More Thing. It's the bonus episode, and
I'm here because I have to be.
Dallas is going to get a seat at the table.
That's it. It's me versus the machine. Don't let his whiteness take away from his quickness.
You can rest later. You're young.
I never recovered here.
Wait. One more thing.
And that's your voice at the end with the One More Thing. I texted you one day, say, hey, can you record yourself saying one more thing?
Yeah. And you got that quick.
And he nailed it. And I did that episode I did the first one that night. After he said that to me. But yeah, the One More Thing is in honor of Isaac. It's an honorary segment about Isaac. Who was the One More Thing king? All right, Isaac. It's good to say that when you're actually here. The other storylines. To me, after Luka, what's the next best storyline in the NBA Finals?
Ooh, man. I mean, do we want to talk about mascot battles? Do we want
the Celtics mascot doesn't wear a costume? It's just like I guess it's a costume, but not like a full suit. It's a human.
Well, yes. So I'm on my show yesterday. I did a segment called like which is better, and I did like better buzz cut, Bobby or Pritchard, better mascot, Mavs man or Lucky, and I think the edge goes to Lucky.
Stop. No.
Are you going to defend Mavs man?
Yes. You know why?
What? You're all friends now?
Do you know why I'm defending Mavs man now?
He listens to Locked On Mavs.
Mavs man is part of the Raccoon Squad. One day I was at the AAC. I was watching a game, and all of a sudden I feel a hand on my shoulder, and I look over, and there is the masked face of Mavs man. And he said, love the show. Listen every day, Raccoon Squad. And he just ran away.
Dude, no. You know how much crap you've said about him?
I know. He's no longer a basketball skin wearing ghoul anymore, though. So
okay, now he's just a great value RoboCop.
He's a spaceman now.
All right. No, I think that the next biggest storyline, I think it has to be Kyrie. I mean, we've already seen articles about it. He's getting asked about it nonstop. He got asked. I mean, when they won the conference finals, I was sitting there. I'm like, don't do it, Ernie. Don't do it, Ernie. And we were in the studio, watching the celebration. And I literally said out loud to people, Bobby and Chopper there in the studio. I was like, please, I hope he does not ask Kyrie about Boston right now.
He's got to do it.
And he did.
He's got to do it.
This is the last question. So just considering everything that's happened with Kyrie over the past 6 years, the exit from Boston, all the stuff. I don't know if we're allowed to just lump Kyrie in general into one storyline.
Sure, that's
Um,
fine.
There were just so many different parts of the past 6 years that we didn't know if we were ever going to see Kyrie at this level of again. Not just level of basketball play, but in the biggest stage possible. And this is one of the most talented, gifted players we've ever seen in the game of basketball. And so to see him back at this stage again is a lot of fun. And all the storylines with Boston, all the relationships there, all the media. I've said this multiple times on streams and the shows. Once Mavs fans, once you understand the amount of media that has connections to New York and Boston and the national world, you understand why some media doesn't like Dallas, because they hate Kyrie so much that then the Mavs get lumped into that, and then they just hate the Mavs because they just hate Kyrie because of their ties to New York and Boston. So you just kind of like accept that and know, oh, that's where that's coming from. And then we can laugh if they win.
And honestly, Jewish ties too. I mean, I've had conversations with media members where they're like, I just can't get over what happened a couple years ago. And so, yeah, that's going to play a factor in this. But I think Kyrie has an opportunity now to refurbish some of his image, especially basketball wise. I think he has an opportunity on a huge national stage to show the growth that he's had as a human, right? Like, we have seen zero issues from Kyrie. And honestly, he has been the leader on this team, and every single player on the Mavericks has mentioned his leadership at some point. I've told this story like 6 times. I'm going to tell it again because I think it's just worth knowing.
Here comes the 7th time.
It's becoming when we talk to Jalen Brunson on media day, it's becoming that.
Gosh.
After was it game 1, game 2 of the Minnesota series, Kyrie goes to the TNT set and he sits there and he got asked what
wanted to go to the TNT set, right? Like they
sure. Well,
yeah, the other team was like, "Hey, we're not going to go there anymore."
I respect the Timberwolves for not going because Draymond was just trashing Gobert over and over again.
If Luka had that rule, Luka would never talk to a single reporter. What are we talking about?
If Draymond is sitting up there and just trashes Lively over and over again, or trashes Kyrie over and over again, and it's
how
like
many people
you can tell
on
that he
national
hates
television
him.
like say crap about Luka, then Luka's like, you know what? I'm not going to talk to any ESPN people ever again.
Well, he kind of doesn't. When's the last time he did a sit-down interview with them?
Anyway, I thought it was pretty lame.
Kyrie sits down with I love it. Kyrie sits down with the TNT guys, and they ask him about 2023 and missing the postseason and all that, and what happened. He said, after that, I went back, I sat on my couch, and I took notes about all the best players during the playoffs. I watched all the playoffs, took notes on the best players and the best leaders throughout that, and tried to learn from them. And I think that is just such an amazing thing. It says something about Kyrie and how he wanted to take the next step, and he's become a better leader. Like the notes worked. We could laugh at the notes thing, like, oh, he took all these notes and then it didn't work, but it did. It worked, and now he's like really stepped up as a leader. He's taken the next step. He admitted at practice the other day, hey, I lost my like in Boston, and I didn't have the best exit and all that. I was flipping the bird at people. There's all this stuff that he did leaving Boston and coming back there when he played for the Nets and all that. He was not in his best headspace, and he's in a much better space now. And I think that's an amazing story. And I think that him stepping up and being able to put that leadership and put that next level Kyrie maturity on this national stage, I think is a really great opportunity for him.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, after practice, he just talked about how much he's matured, and he's a different. Yeah. He's just learned from that stuff. I mean, that was 6 to 8 years ago, right? Like, that was a longer than what some of us probably think it was. And a lot has happened since then. And I mean, you don't need me to echo everything that Nick said, but this is one of my favorite conversations I have with people when they ask me about the Mavericks, especially over the past few weeks. People who I didn't even know followed Mavericks, like, hey, what about the season, bro? And I always get asked about Kyrie, and I always say the same thing. I'm like, dude, he's honestly one of my favorite players to ever cover in this past year, in the past 12 months. Just to his leadership, the answers he gives, every story you hear about him with players and coaches and everything. You couldn't have asked for a better past, 12 months with Kyrie and what he's brought to the team, both on and off the floor, and how many players respect him. I mean, I remember when he left Boston, and they played the Celtics, and it was like Tatum and Brown, all these guys would go up to him during the game or after the game and like dap him up, and it was like all lovey-dovey. And it's like, how could he do? It's like, because players love Kyrie.
They
like
care. Yeah.
they revere him so much, and they still have a relationship with him. So him going back to Boston has to be, I mean, right up there. It already is. And I think we're going to have some animosity with the fans and everything, come game 1 and game 2, any game in Boston, Kyrie has the ball or free throw line, like he's going to hear it from the crowd. And I'm really excited just to see how he responds as a leader, as a player, and especially that crowd. And they better not let Dallas get a lead or pull out one of those games, because
don't let them get one.
Yeah, don't let them get one.
Coming up, let's do some Boston storylines, because there's got to be they have storylines. They have storylines too. I know you work
got
for the
Corrales
Mavericks
for that crap. Come on.
I know you're a shill homer for the Mavericks now, but we've got to cover the Boston Celtics side of this too. I think they have some good storylines related to the Mavericks. Talk about that coming up. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. FanDuel Sportsbook has all kinds of props and odds that you can use to get in on the action and talk about all the stuff that is going on right now with the NBA Finals. Go to FanDuel.com/lockedon and get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. Put $5 down on Luka to win the Finals MVP. Luka is plus 200. Tatum is the favorite at minus 120 because they think the Celtics are going to win. Tatum is plus 600. Kyrie, we just did a whole soliloquy about how Kyrie has stepped up. What if he wins Finals MVP? That's plus 2,000. If you put $5 on that, don't you win like a couple $100? You could do that. Go ahead and check on that, FanDuel.com/lockedon. Right now for the finals, they've got the Celtics minus 220, Mavericks plus 184. Celtics are back to a minus 6.5 point favorite in game 1. So again, check it out, FanDuel.com/lockedon.
Touche.
It's broken. Rose was like,
I remember my first podcast.
the board froze.
You want me to show you how to work that soundboard?
I was trying to do a maneuver and it just didn't. Here, I'll do a bonus one.
That's it. It's me versus the machines. The Matrix is taking over. That's it. They want us to be perfect. Basketball isn't perfect. It's beautiful.
That's a good one.
All right, Isaac, let's get into the storylines, the best storylines around the NBA Finals. We talked about Luka ascending to the best player in the NBA. We talked about Kyrie showing his new leadership position that he's accepted with the Mavericks, showing off this new and improved Kyrie Irving. You got any for the Boston Celtics? Are there any good storylines on their side of things?
Yeah, so Luke Cornett, I think
the Cornett contest where he puts his hands up over the rim and jumps. And
I mean, I didn't spend a lot of time on Boston's. Do you want to save KP or?
No, you do KP now.
Yeah, I mean, I think just KP's connection to Dallas, it makes the series even more juicier. I think I was thinking the other day, I was thinking about the potential matchups in the finals of like what we could have had. And I was like, I think this is the one that has like the most juiciest storylines, like
best crossovers.
Yeah. And just like the drama, the chance for tension and like, all this stuff. And I mean, KP, his exit from Dallas, he has talked about, if we're going to talk about maturing and growth, KP has talked about pretty openly and on the record how much he's grown as a player and as a person since he's left Dallas, going to Washington, going to Boston, and all of that. So yeah, I'm fascinated. He's missed the past 10 games for them. He changes their team so much. That's why I caution a little bit people pulling out Celtics playoff stats this postseason run, because it just changes so much when KP's in there. And so their team, even though they're still really good, some of their numbers will change and some of their schemes change with KP's in there. And just the relationship with Dallas of like, they swung for it to be the second star next to Luka. It worked for a few stretches there. You saw some potential. You got excited. We got excited there for, a little bit, but ultimately it just didn't work out. And I think it didn't work out both on the court and off the court. And it was probably good for him to find a new home. So, and I think everybody knows that for both teams come the finals. It's
helpful when you can be the fourth best player on a team.
But You talking about Horford?
I mean, he just fits into he's a very overqualified role player, and I think that just fits.
Wait,
because
you're saying he's better than Drew or Derek White?
Drew right now probably.
Okay,
it's debatable, but even that it's debatable, okay, he's the 5th best player on their team. Like that's wild, but he's fit into this role now, and that has fit him a lot, and he's like a luxury for the Celtics at this point. You mentioned that he changes a lot. He doesn't change a lot for their record or their on-off numbers at all, but I guess neither does Luka's on-off numbers.
Well, look, on-off, and I mean, Luka doesn't impact winning. Come on.
The other thing about Porzingis, he's coming back from that injury, like you said, calf strain. He's been out for 38 days. It'll be 38 days between the last time he played in the playoffs to then when he'll play, if he plays in game 1. So I think that's interesting.
Well, I mentioned the other day was like how in the playoffs, out of the 16 teams left in the playoffs, or that made the playoffs, Boston was 14th among those 16 in the playoffs as far as percentage opponents had at the rim. And then when you look in the regular season for that, they were much higher. They're like top 5 in that. Whenever Porzingis stuff is out there, so challenge the rim a little bit more if KP's not in there. But he is a good shot blocker, and he can protect the paint at times too. So anyway, talk about Tatum and Brown.
Do you not want to?
No, I know you're dying to talk about it. You grew up a Celtics fan, so I know you're excited.
I should show them. That was Paul Pierce was the person I hated the most, I think, in life at a certain point in my life. No, we'll skip Boston stuff if you don't want to talk about it.
No, I mean, it would mean something for the Tatum and Jaylen Brown duo, right? Like,
sure, yeah.
People's question that duo forever, even though they keep on winning basketball games and making playoff runs. But it would, it would mean something for that duo for sure.
Be a big validation for those guys who take them to maybe another level. Maybe Bill Simmons would be a little bit more right when he says that the gap between Tatum and Luka is not that big. Maybe he would be a little more right.
Oh, that's it's just great. Case in point, when you listen to something like that, you got to understand, where it's coming from. Can I give you a one for Dallas?
Absolutely.
Storyline for this midseason trades. Will people talk about midseason? Will we get an increase in midseason trades for the next few years for teams across the league that look at this Dallas situation, look at their record to close out the season, look at the 2 trades that they've made, and we all have talked about, hey, listen, you can't really talk about the Mavericks before the trade deadline. You got to talk about them after the trade deadline. And Gafford, PJ Washington, I don't know. Maybe we get another team or 2 over the next few years that it's at the trade deadline. And they're like, you know what? Let's swing for it. Dallas did it, and they changed their team. And look, they went to the finals. Maybe they won a ring, and maybe we can do the same. So I don't know. I love trade season. So there you go.
I would think, well, you start looking through it and you're like, all right, why is Dallas here? Okay, we have a top 5 player. So then it would motivate some of those teams, like a Nuggets, a Bucks, somebody to go for it. And I think those teams have gone for it in the past with the Drew Holiday trade, a Aaron Gordon trade, things like that.
That was kind of a common denominator of the the Final Four that was left. You look at Minnesota making the Rudy Gobert trade, Dallas. I mean, if you want to lump Kyrie trade into that, then the trade deadline stuff, Boston going all in on this insane payroll. But hey, and then you look at Indiana, they traded for Siakam. So it's like it's rewarding teams right now that really swung for it. I have one final one. You're gonna love this one.
No, you got to say it though.
Hey, one more thing.
I'm not playing.
Wait.
I'm not playing. I'm watching, just like you guys.
Jason Kidd winning a title as a coach.
Amazing.
And a player for the Mavericks. I mean, if he wins a title as a coach, for as much as we've talked about Rick Carlisle being the only coach franchise history has won the one championship we have. I mean, you got to talk about Kidd being on the Mount Rushmore of influential Mavericks of all times. If he can have both rings from the only 2 titles in franchise history. And you got to give him his flowers for, the past 3 years, 2 conference finals. Now he's made a finals, potentially a ring. He's got 2 separate rosters to buy into an identity and chemistry. And you have 2 superstars that love playing for him. I mean, I know he gets a lot of flack. I get it over this past year.
From who?
I don't know. Didn't you do a Bill Simmons walk and talk one day? But no, I mean, I think that would, it would just escalate him to the top there with a certain few names as far as influential Mavs in history.
He has proven those haters, whoever those people are, whoever those doubters were, he has proven them wrong for sure. And it's taken this team to heights that it didn't even look like they could go to. Now they're in the finals. Absolutely insane that he's gotten them there. And he's like, everything has been validated. All okay, well, I have doubts about this. I have doubts about this. Can't anymore, because now we've been to Western Conference Finals 2 years out of 3, and he's been to the finals in one of them. And wasn't favored in many of these years. They were favored at the beginning against the Clippers because Kawhi was going to be out. But if Kawhi was healthy, they were not going to be favored in that one. And then
you tweeted something the other day about are there a portion of Celtics fans that really think they're the underdog?
There are some Celtics trolls that are doing it for sure, and I had some fun with them for sure.
Oh, come on.
There are people picking the Mavericks, and so anytime somebody picks the Mavericks, a Celtics fan will look at it and be like, "Oh, we're the underdog now," trying to soften the blow if they do end up losing. But yeah, any other little storylines you're looking at?
No, that's about it. That's the main. I mean, you could literally go across the roster and talk for Dallas's sake, and look at some different players and like, hey, what would a ring mean for this guy, or the storyline in the finals? I'm
looking at who becomes like a Brian Cardinal, who becomes like a legend, where we go, oh, remember Brian Cardinal? Like, remember the custodian in the finals run? Remember Peja Stojakovic in the finals run? Like, somebody will become a legend. Like, remember Deshaun Stevenson? Remember JJ Barea guarded LeBron? You know what I mean? Like, there will be a legendary moment for a couple role players. A PJ Washington, Derrick Jones Jr., Lively, Gafford, Jaden Hardy. What if Tim has the same kind of game he had against OKC in game 2? Like, where he has 17 points, and we go, where did that come from? But all of a sudden, it was a huge quarter swing for the Mavs.
Omax.
Your boy. I get texts all the time on the subtext, like, did Omax's ankle fall off? No, he was practicing the other day. He was taking shots. His ankle is fine. They just are not going to play.
It is really cool when you look how special this run is, how so many of those guys have had their moment in this run and throughout the playoffs. And even, Jaden Hardy in this last series, and it's like, whoa, what are him getting these minutes in this role? And it just shows you how series by series it could bring up, another guy. Exum could go back to playing a lot of minutes or something, like Tim could be playing that role in the finals. Like, you just never know. And somebody's going to be stepping up, hopefully, and will be one of those dudes that we talk about for a very long time.
Someone will have one of those moments. Hopefully it's Isaac Harris.
Did you make a prediction yet?
I've said Mavs in 6.
Oh yeah. All right. Yeah.
Because I think they've got to come out and they've got to get them early in some of these early games. But I think the Mavs could win in 7. But I think if the Mavs are going to win, it's more likely that they win earlier.
Yeah, I'm with you. Mavs in 6, baby.
Mavs in 6. We're sticking to it. And go listen to Mavs Land on the Dallas Mavericks YouTube channel. That's where Isaac's show is now. He did not leave just to do that, but he is doing that now. So
at least I'm still in the Mavs world. I could have left the pod, and I'm just like, I don't know, doing something random, texting you like, hey, I watched basketball last night.
There you go, guys. Thanks for listening to Locked On Mavs.
Peace out.
Boom. You like the one more thing music?
What is this?